great that I'm here with this comment because she had just came out in the New York Times. And what I had shared with Carol earlier is that when I read her comment and then went to the back of my AFA, they were stolen from their homes, locked in chains, and taken across the ocean. And for more than 200 years, their blood and sweat would help to build the richest and most powerful nation the world has ever known. But when slavery ended, their welcome was over. America's wealthy elite had decided it was time for them to disappear, and they were not particular about how it was done. Let me tell you something. They were so engrossed at that point. So many delegates at that point, their whole demeanor changed. Being in ministry as long as I've been in, you know when the light bulb goes on in a person.
Right.
And it was just awesome to see them take this and thank me, thank us, which they originally stepped to us were very, at first, somewhat standoffish or basically want to be courteous and keep going, but yet they were thanking us for stopping them. And so we were totally validated, vindicated by the statement of Ginsburg. It was unquestionably, providentially released by the New York Times that Sunday because it gave us a sense of credibility with the delegates because they know I don't work for the New York Times and neither am under the auspices of Ms. Ginsburg, Justice Ginsburg. So they said, wow, this is really something that was unquestionably something that God was in, especially with the church folks.
Well, you were standing out on the street corner. I understand you gave about 400 of these to credentialed delegates of the NAACP convention, and you had one of the attorneys for the NAACP come back, and apparently, what was the situation with him?
We had a great exchange, and it was only a minute and a half, 2 minutes. She's very, very much a lawyer. She asked very poignant questions when I first made my presentation to her. But the next day, she was looking all over for me because we were walking and circling the Hilton looking for delegates. Anyone that had a green badge on was target. And so I missed her, but she had to leave, but she was frantically, from what I understand, the other teams that ran into her searching for me because she wanted to know, what can I do now to help? Wow. And they just pointed her to the website, and they said you can get in contact with him from there. But it was just, that was the type of response for anyone who watched it while they were there. There were people taking this and viewing this in their hotel rooms and then coming out the next day. And so we scrutinized who we gave it to. If they were too obstinate, we refused to give them the material. But if we felt the spark was there and that we just needed to kindle that a little more, it was just an awesome time, and I was very proud of my group. They just basically followed the pattern and really engaged the delegates. They were excited, and so
awesome,
it was just a great. I'm still kind of on cloud nine over it.
Right. Yeah, and you know you had people coming up. One person from Morehouse College, is that right? Saying that they were going to start showing this at the school, which is one of the larger black universities in the country.
Morehouse, Medgar Evers. I mean, we had people from Hawaii, St. Thomas. I mean, the Morehouse brother didn't want to go, and he was supposed to be getting on his bus to go somewhere. He said, brother, I'm going to be in touch with you. I'm definitely going to look. I'm definitely going to show. And it was just from the Ginsburg and the back of my AFA's comment. Wow. That was staggering. That was knocking people over.
Wow.
And so at that point, they say, well, I have to see what's in this video. I have to know. I mean, here it is, a Chief Justice making this comment, and then you flip over my AFA and then read this to them. People were actually stunned.
See, that's why I say God planned to have her make that comment. It's better now than it would have been in the video.
Absolutely. Please. That is so true.
That is providential at that moment. And I know it represented a substantial financial investment for Life Dynamics to send 400 copies of this to Reverend Clenard at this moment, as well as all those lynching is for amateurs brochures.
Well, he's got 500, but he gave out 400 there, and I assume you're going to give out the other 100 in the appropriate places there.
Listen, this vindicates my life. I mean, this causes me to be able to rest with assurance that those people, and you give it to pastors who will leaders that will sit for 2 hours, and then encourage their people to say, you got to see this, and then they'll have the discipline to listen. I showed it during my service. There's another pastor is showing it in his service coming this Sunday. So we're excited about the fact that with the proper endorsement from key people, people will view this. And you need to see the whole of IAPA because it unquestionably answers every question. Right. It basically answers any thoughts that would come as afterthoughts about the authenticity, the accuracy, the people in it. All throughout the 2 hours or so, it just answers every question you could possibly have.
Well, Clonard, we thank you for what you've done up there, and we need to all realize that we're all excited about what's going on here, but this is just a month into the deal. This thing is just getting started. I think this thing is just going to grow and grow and grow, and already we're seeing the viral marketing aspects of this thing are enormous because we've done no promotion of it yet, none, and the response we've gotten is amazing. Thank you for being with us, Clonard.
Thank you, sir, for your sacrifice and offer of love that you have unquestionably produced something that is going to transform the African-American community, and I thank God for the seed that I now have to sow into the lives of so many leaders. God bless you.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for the help.
Okay, now.
I'm shocked that, number one, New York Times would even print that.
I don't think they even knew what they were printing.
And number two, we should all be chilled that we have somebody on the Supreme Court that would make a statement like that.
Why isn't she being required to resign or be impeached? You can impeach a Supreme Court.
Where is Obama?
In front of the Senate, strategy-wise, can we get some senators to require her to come from the Senate to clarify her remarks?
No, we don't want to do that. We want her right where she is because this isn't going to be the end of this kind of thing. Right. Let her be right where she is.
Any case that comes before her from now on that has anything to do with abortion, she needs to disqualify herself. Right. She needs to step down.
Anything that has to do with race.
Especially with race.
Anything that has to do with eugenics. Because let me tell you something. What she said is exactly right. Mm-hmm. The origin, the father of legalized abortion is eugenics. Mm-hmm. It's not women's rights. It's not reproductive freedom. It's not choice. It's not liberty. It's none of the privacy. Yep. Right. It is eugenics. That is the father of the abortion license in this country. Right. And I wish we had more time to talk about it, but we could go on and on about this, and we probably will in future shows. So,
praise God for people like Pastor Clonard.
Absolutely.
He recommended. He said a pastor needs to show this at a time when they're going to have a regular service. Mm-hmm. He said that people need to see the whole thing, not segments, not part of it. Right. They need to see the whole thing
and then talk about it after.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. Now let's check in with Father Frank and Janet.
Well, thanks, Mark. And LifeTalk friends, it's good to be with you again with Janet Morana, our executive director. And we want to talk to you today, taking a little look back at the Notre Dame situation, which so many of you followed and supported the efforts of pro-life people who were objecting to President Obama being honored at that Catholic institution. Janet, it was amazing to see the reaction. I mean, this happens every year at many different Catholic and other Christian institutions, that pro-abortion public figures are honored as if they deserve some kind of honor for killing babies. But this Notre Dame situation was really a lightning rod, wasn't it?
That's right. And, we have to remember that our U.S. bishops have clearly made a statement several years ago with the whole body of bishops that this was not to be tolerated, to invite these kind of people at graduation ceremonies. So there was already a ruling on the books about this.
No honors, no platforms.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so, a lot of things happened at Notre Dame. There were the protests online, people there, but you had a unique experience, Father. You were on the inside track, and I think our LifeTalk audience would like to hear from you firsthand. How did that come about? And let's get an inside peek of what was it like that morning at Notre Dame on the inside?
Well, of course, we were following the events very closely, speaking out about it, publicizing the statements of the various bishops who spoke up, issuing some statements of our own. We were promoting the idea, for example, that to make reparations reputation for this scandal, that that schools should honor the unborn at their graduations, and some of them did. In fact, some of them had me come and speak. I spoke at the Ave Maria commencement, the Christendom College commencement. It was an honor to do that. And so we were doing all these things. And then one day we got a call from some of the senior class at Notre Dame. And there was a group of seniors and this ND response team who decided they were not going to be present to honor President Barack Obama. Because it's not just that he was speaking, as you know.
Right,
they were giving him a law degree.
Exactly.
And
And that was a very bold thing for them to do, because, you know, you think about college graduation. As a parent, you know, I had 3 daughters graduate college. It's a day that a parent looks for.
Yes.
You know, and so this had to be that their families also were in full support of their actions, and they were really living out their Catholic faith.
Yes, exactly. So they called me and they said, would you come and lead us in prayer at an alternate commencement ceremony? They did it. They got permission from the campus, permission from the school to do it on another part of campus. It was in the grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes. So I got there early in the morning, and we started off with a mass, and there were a couple of thousand people out on the open field. Pro-life people were coming up to me on the campus as we were walking the grounds, getting ready for all this. Pro-life activists were coming up to me from all different parts of the country, some of whom I'm sure are in our LifeTalk audience. They had come to Notre Dame from as far away as California to take part, to stand with these students, not because they knew the students, but because they knew the commitment they were making. And so we started with a mass. Then there was a rally, and various Notre Dame alumni spoke at the rally, including people like Chris Godfrey of the Life Athletes.
And I remember he was on one of our programs, too. And you know what I think was great was, wasn't the bishop who refused to go to the graduation, didn't he come to the rally?
He came to the rally and the alternate commencement. Yes,
so,
he was there.
You know, now that's great when the shepherd really leads the people.
Well,
you know?
interesting, what he said that day was, I was only scheduled to come last night, which I did. I came for the prayer service, but when I saw the outpouring of conviction of the people, I felt this is where I have to be. So he came back. It is possible to move the bishops into a higher level of witness. So